Welcome to the Rewilded Human podcast, where Dr. Lucille and Lynn will tackle your most difficult and intimate questions with candor, tough love, and a little dash of humor. In today's episode,
simply avoiding talking about it, or running into the next room when he starts talking about it, or getting into an argument over it, it's going to gradually erode your relationship.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of the Rewilded Human podcast. We are so excited to be back with you guys and looking forward to sharing more questions with you. My name is Lynn Hardy. I'm a naturopath and a nutritional consultant, and I am a nature lover, a traveler, a world citizen. I have lived in so many different countries, and I have so many interesting stories and life experiences to share with you guys. And I'm going to introduce you to my co-host, Dr. Lucille, so she can tell you a little bit about herself as well.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Dr. Lucille Neckes, and I'm a holistic psychiatrist. I'm in private practice, and I specialize in psychotherapy, especially doing something called EMDR. And I, unlike Lynn, I have lived all my life here in Canada, and I love to travel though. And I, unlike Lynn also, I love 4 seasons, not just the hot season.
Yeah.
So, yes. So I've gathered a lot of my experience from my work, and I also have tread into other areas. I love the idea of people becoming empowered about healing and improving their own lives, just by being very curious about their own health. So I also promote frequency devices like the Healy. I'm an independent Healy World member, and I love playing with the quantum field to enhance our bioenergetic fields.
Guys, check out the link below for the Healy if you're watching on YouTube, or we have the links below, so please do check that out.
Okay.
So we will get to your questions. We're going to start with Jackie, right, Lucille?
Yes, we're going to start with Jackie. Yes, Jackie is concerned about her partner's conspiracy theories. How popular has this become in our world?
A lot. Yes.
How do you maintain a healthy and respectful relationship when your partner holds strong beliefs in conspiracy theories? What are the keys to navigating such significant differences in perspectives, especially when it affects day-to-day interactions?
Jackie, your partner is probably right. Sorry, I had to say that.
We'll just leave it at that and move on.
Your partner is right. You need to open your ears, woman, and start listening to what he's saying. That's all I've got to say about that. Next question. No, Lucille, let's see what you've got.
No, we're really just joking with you, Jackie. But
are we? Are we?
I think it's a really very, very important question in our lives. It was one that we hardly ever had to deal with. Sure, we've always had to deal with people having differences of opinion about politics and things like that. But the whole realm of conspiracy theories is something that has just blossomed forth in especially the last few years, right? We all know what we're talking about here. And one thing that is very, very important, I think, is that you don't have to agree with your partner's opinions. However, simply avoiding talking about it, or running into the next room when he starts talking about it, or getting into an argument over it, it's going to gradually erode your relationship. And you are having then to consider, like, what is your highest value here? Is it to maintain that loving relationship? Is it to, no matter what, to grow old together, to find other things that you have in common that can nurture both of you? You have to be very, very clear about your values. What direction do you want this relationship to go in? People also, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, like, this is really tough, Lucille, because, for example, we have very strong beliefs and our beliefs are very similar, you and I. And I also often wonder, like going through the past 3-4 years of what the world has gone through, would you be able to be with someone who sees it completely differently?
That's an excellent question.
Because I ask myself a lot, and I, we survived these 4 years because we think the same. But of course, I have family members and friends who think we're crazy. But there's no way that I could be with someone like that. So
I agree. I agree with you too. And I have seen so many couples that have had to who have broken up as a result of these differences. So that's why.
So I think, Jackie, if you love your partner a lot, and if your partner is as passionate about his beliefs as some other people are, no names mentioned, but then, you also, if you love him and you don't want to lose him, then maybe open your mind a little bit and do a little bit of research, maybe listen to him and say, and find out why he's so passionate. I know people can go overboard and you can go down this really dark rabbit hole and become depressed because of the state of the world. So I understand that. And you want to be informed, but you don't want to go crazy because there's just not a lot of things that we can control. But I think if you want this relationship to work, you can't just avoid this, because I'm sure your partner is super passionate about what's happening and he wants to share this with you, and he wants to like bring you in so you can share this together and kind of like fight the system together. If I mean, that would be me if that's why I'm just speaking from experience. So if you could try to open your mind, because a lot of times with our partners, we just, whatever they say, we say the opposite. If he loves this song, then I hate it. If he wants to go watch this movie, then I want to watch that one. We just try to, a lot of people do this on purpose to contradict each other. And then, so if they believe in conspiracy theories, then obviously that's all BS. I don't even want to listen to that. So somewhere try to find a common ground, because the world's going to get a lot crazier in the coming years. I think, I pray I'm wrong, but I think it will. And if you guys are not on the same page, things are going to get really difficult, especially if you have kids. Then
totally agree. Totally agree. So I love that point you made, that, at least try to understand. And I think that's, people just, as you said, they tend to just move to opposite corners. And, it may take a lot for you, to just sit down with your partner and say, okay, I'd like to understand why you believe this theory. At least if you understand, sometimes you understand where the other person is coming from, you can tolerate their opinions more, right? Yeah. But if after you have a discussion and you find, wow, my head is exploding, I cannot believe that you actually think these things, then it's going to be very, very hard. Because, another thing, and I think you, Lynn, have also noticed this, once you get into the conspiracy theory stuff, it's like you wake up in a whole different world and you can't go back. No. You can't go back to thinking the way the mainstream thinks.
You took the red pill, you're down. There's no going back from that.
The red pill. That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I empathize with you, Jackie. There are certain realities to this that, I'm sure you never considered when you first got married, or, I don't know if you're actually married, but when you first got together. But it is tough. And so if you cannot at least come to some kind of understanding, you may have to make some hard choices.
Yeah, Lucille's absolutely right. And your partner is not going to there's no going back. He's not going to let go of the conspiracy theories. That's going to be for life. That there's no going back from that. You are absolutely correct about that. So either you are willing to overlook it, go along for the ride, or I don't know how things are going to work out in the long term. It's going to be very tough. So I'm sorry. Yeah. I doesn't, we're not trying to gang up on you or anything. I hope you're not thinking that by what we're saying, but we know, we've seen this a lot, and it's a very, very difficult dynamic. That's for sure. So I hope, giving you our kind of approach or perception of this will help with your relationship as well. And we wish you the best of luck with this. And our next question comes from Emma, which she writes in with a very timely concern. As winter approaches, I find myself dreading the shorter days and lack of sunlight. I've struggled with seasonal affective disorder, SAD, in the past, and it really impacts my mood and energy levels. Could you share some advice or strategies on how to cope with SAD during the winter months? I love this question. This is awesome. Can I go first, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Lynn. Yeah. Yeah.
So, first of all, during summer, get ready for the winter season by spending lots and lots of time out in the sun without sunscreen, and build up your vitamin D levels, because a lot of times you're feeling sad and you're going through the seasonal affective disorder because you're actually very low in vitamin D. So this is really important. So make sure you're getting lots of sun, getting ready for the winter. Second thing you can do is, they have those SAD lamps that you can buy that is kind of like, that white light of getting the sunlight, and that really helps as well. Red light therapy, I love red light therapy, and it's like having a ray of sunshine. I have my red light devices all around me, but you can see I've got my biocharger behind me. So those frequency devices can help so much to balance your body. Grounding, if you get a chance, if it's not too cold, to get your feet in the ground, that is awesome. Cold showers, cold therapy. I know it sounds kind of counterproductive to go into the cold in the winter, but again, it's something you would start in the summer and slowly get your body used to. But cold therapy just releases dopamine, and it's going to make you feel amazing, balance your hormones and all the feel-good hormones. It's just, you get like a runner's high from cold therapy. Also food, make sure your diet is good, lots of protein, lots of healthy fats, not too much sugar, not too much wheat, cut down on the carbs. And I think, go on vacation, try to, in the middle of winter, like when I lived, I'm also from Canada, like Lucille is. And so, every winter we would go to Florida or to Mexico or, Cuba or somewhere warm. And even having those 2 weeks of sunshine and, stocking up on your vitamin D levels, and then you go back and it's just so much easier to survive winter afterwards. And, get outside, because we just get stuck inside because the weather is crap. So you don't want to go out, but you still need to be out in nature. Even if it's cold, just bundle up, dress up as much as you need to, and go out there, especially when it's sunny. And, just be in nature. We're just spending way too much time indoors in the winter. And that's just going to make you sick mentally, physically. These toxic homes that we're in is not the right environment for us. Lucille?
Oh, I think you've really covered it very well, Lynn. I would agree with everything you've said. And one of the things too that I think you've sort of alluded to is that whenever the sun does come up in your area, whatever time of year, you try to get out and look at the sun, or
Yes.
not look directly at it.
You can look at it first thing in the morning and when it's setting. Yes.
That's right. Yes.
Super important.
You really set your circadian rhythm in your brain. That helps tremendously. And another thing too is to, as always, try not to get too attached to the screens, like the television screen, computer screens, your phone. Always, try and take some time out from the screens. Move your body periodically, because that's also so helpful for brain chemistry. And as Lynn said, just, if you can get out in nature as much as possible, that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
So so that would be my take on it.
I love it. Awesome. And if you guys need some motivation for for exercise snacks, I have a channel on YouTube called Exercise Snacks. And I have these really short bursts of exercises, 30 to 60 seconds long, that you can do anytime, anywhere, just using your own body. Just get up from your desk and move your body. And if you can, go out on your porch, in your backyard, and move your body there. So that's even better. Just keep moving. Super important, guys. So Emma, we hope that helps. And we are on to the next question.
Okay. Kateri, and I hope I have pronounced your name correctly. Kateri asks a very important question that tends to stir up controversy. Is coffee bad for you?
Yes. Yes.
That's it. On to the next question. Okay.
Next question. No, coffee. And I've done videos about this, and I've done many posts about coffee. Do you drink coffee, Lucille?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I prefer teas. Yeah.
Okay, good.
But coffee is definitely not good for my constitution. I know that.
Okay, that's good. I get a lot of flack when I speak about coffee, even in the carnivore community. You know, I was quite big in the carnivore community. I organized a carnivore retreat and everything in Spain. And even in the carnivore community where people only eat meat, they will chew your head off when you tell them to stop drinking coffee. And I mean, coffee does not come from an animal, right? So I mean, still, but coffee is a drug. Now, coffee is not only a drug, the caffeine in coffee is a neurotoxin, and it's a pesticide that kills the insects. So over time, this builds up in your body and it destroys your nervous system. I quit coffee about 6, 7, maybe 7, 8 years ago now. I don't know, like the last 3, 4 years just kind of zipped by, but for a very long time. And I used to have so much anxiety. I would wake up, I'd have my cup of coffee, and my heart was like pounding like this. And then I'd be putting my makeup on, my hands would be shaking. And I thought this was normal. None of it is normal. My son and my husband, they both almost have heart attacks when they have a coffee. Their heart starts beating so badly and they start sweating like cold sweat, because once you get this toxin out of your body, it's incredible how your body reacts to it. It will also slow down your metabolism because it's raising your cortisol levels all the time. So, you know, your body's going to be storing fat. It just messes with your hormones. If for someone that's going through menopause, your hormones are going to be out of this world, coffee is going to make it so much worse. So yes, it's an absolute toxin. There's a really good book you can read, Coffee, the Caffeine Blues. I think it's called Caffeine Blues. And it's an amazing book. It explains everything in great detail. And Jason Christoph also has some really good information about it. There was also a video, BBC did a video about this. They scanned your brain before drinking coffee and afterwards. And the coffee reduced blood flow to the brain by something like 46%. I mean, you know, who needs a brain? It's not important, right? And, you know, we were speaking about conspiracy theories. And, you know, they're saying, like, why is it that we didn't have coffee? Like, you know, coffee wasn't really a big deal when we were growing up. There was definitely not a coffee shop on every single corner. And we weren't walking around with like huge cups of coffee 24/7, right? This is a new thing. So there is also this theory that, you know, caffeinating people makes them much easier to control. Now, I don't know if this is, you know, something that is if that this is something that is a concern of you for you or not, but just coffee is bad for you in every way. All I would ask is for you to give it up for 30 days and see how you feel, and see if you're not sleeping 100% better, feeling less anxious, less depressed, less impatient. Everything changes in your life. If you're not feeling better after 30 days, go back to drinking it. But if after 30 days you have one coffee and you see how you feel, and that's when you realize how toxic it is. And just the fact that you can't just stop drinking coffee because you're going to get a headache, you're going to have withdrawal symptoms. It's a drug. You know, if it was good for you, like when you stop eating broccoli, nothing happens to your body. You don't go through a withdrawal. So anything that when you quit, you get sick, then maybe you should not be drinking that poison. I can go on forever, but Lucille, I'll pass it on to you because I feel very passionate about.
Well, you know, I agree with everything you've said, you know, and we have to, I think you made a very good point. Why is it that there's such a proliferation of coffee drinking in this world? It didn't used to be this way. And I think I believe coffee is still the #1 beverage throughout the world. And you have to ask yourself, what is that doing to us as a civilization? You know, and if you look at the ancient traditions like Ayurveda or traditional Chinese medicine, they also are not in favor of coffee.
Yeah.
They tell us that it is bad for our health.
Yeah.
And it is really, I look at it as a form of self-medication.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's something going out of balance. maybe your thyroid is off, maybe you are you're skimping on getting enough sleep or whatever, and you are having to turn to coffee to kind of kick your brain and your adrenals into action every day.
But it's also catch-22, because when you start drinking
Yes.
coffee, you won't be sleeping well, right?
That's right.
And then you know you're going to be tired during the day, and then at 3 o'clock you need the pick-me-up because you need to have another coffee to stay awake. And in the morning, you know, your cortisol is so low, you need the coffee to even wake up. And it's just this loop that you get into, this toxic loop.
Absolutely, absolutely. So think about it as a drug. I always thought it's like a street drug, except it's completely legal and very much accepted.
Yes,
right?
and this is why they're feeding, you know, Coca-Cola to children, right? So that we get them
Exactly.
addicted to the caffeine very young, and then they'll be great coffee consumers for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Absolutely.
And I see it linked to so many things, because you go to the doctor, for example, that I'm having anxiety, then they medicate you. And meanwhile, the anxiety is caused by the coffee, or I'm having, you know, tremors, and then they diagnose you with Parkinson's. Meanwhile, you just need to get off the coffee. I mean, how many times does that happen? And the doctor will not ask you how many coffees are you drinking. They don't care. Here's some medication.
They should. Well, because the doctor's probably drinking as much, if not more, coffee to keep him or herself going throughout the day, right? But even in the big Bible of diagnostic categories, there is a section on caffeine addiction, or, you know, caffeine dependence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, very interesting. It is definitely for many, many years, it has been recognized as an addiction. And it is very, very important that if you're feeling like really concerned that, you know, you're drinking maybe too much, you're probably drinking way too much. And I would agree with Lynn, it's time to start weaning yourself off.
Lucille, to people, I have friends who will tell me, if I have to stop my coffee, I would rather die.
Yeah, I know. And that is a sure sign of addiction.
Addiction, exactly.
That's a sure sign of an addiction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we hope that answers your question. Stop drinking coffee, woman. Bad for you. If you must, drink decaf. And there's this Swiss water method for decaffeinating coffee, which is really great because they're not using any chemicals for the decaffeination process. So I think it's Blue Goose that sells these, and there are some other companies as well. I really like Blue Goose, and they put it in like a cornstarch capsule, so you're not getting the aluminum capsule, which is also toxic and bad for your brain, right? So that's an option. And then herbal teas, and just get off the coffee, everybody. And don't give me nasty comments below, okay? Because I don't like those. That happens every time. Every time I mention the word coffee, people go crazy. Yeah. But it needs to be said. So sorry, don't shoot the messenger, right?
No, I need the messenger. Lynn is my partner in crime. No,
we are all okay. We saved the juiciest one for last. Okay, this is going to be a long question, so I'm going to hopefully not mess it up for you guys. So this comes from Troubled in Vegas, and he has a very interesting predicament. I have another question. So this Troubled in Vegas has already written to us with a question before that we have addressed in a previous episode. I think it was episode 2, but we're not going to mention your name, Dawn. I mean, we're not going to mention your name. Sorry. No names mentioned. Troubled in Vegas has another question. I'm sorry, this might be long, but I don't know how I can ask it. I have to start by looking at a beach community that 10 to 15 years ago had a bunch of 40 to 45-year-old women marrying 60 to 65-year-old men for life on the beach, wealthy men. Now the women are 55 to 65. The husbands are now 75 to 80. The wives are still out to have fun. The husbands are sitting at home, kind of like my husband, but he's not that old yet. But anyway, I had some married women want to dance and have cocktails with me. And is this okay? Kind of strange. What do you think? So I asked for some clarification because I was a little bit confused. So basically what I understood so far is that, you know, these women, the younger women that married older men, and then the older men are kind of, you know, out of the loop now. They don't want to go out and party, but the women still want to party, and these women want to dance with him. So I asked for clarifications, and this is what Troubled in Vegas said. Well, I guess because I don't want a relationship right now, I know 4 married women, not 1, 4, that go out to listen to live music and have drinks with me, sometimes all together. You're a lucky man. All together, and sometimes just 2 of us, knowing that I'm not trying to impress anyone. It's really a comfortable way to go out and have fun. One of them is very touchy-feely, but sex is not in the picture at all. I guess my question would be, is it normal or okay to live this kind of lifestyle for a single guy? I'm comfortable with this, but others are telling me don't do this. So this is a tough one, because I would say, I mean, this is not on him, right? Because he's a single guy. It's kind of on the women not to go and do this if they are married and they're not having sex. I don't know. This is a hard one, because I mean, I guess he's Troubled in Vegas is feeling a little bit guilty about hanging out with these married women, I would assume. Like he understands that this is kind of morally wrong, but he's not looking for a relationship. He's not looking to get married. So he's just kind of having fun. But the women are married. So is this okay, or is this wrong?
Well, what do you think, Lynn?
I don't know. Oh my God, this is so hard. Yeah, I think it's not on him. He's not the one doing anything wrong. I think it's the women, and maybe the husbands don't even care, you know? I don't know. Like, for sure, my husband would not be happy if I was doing that. So I would never do something like that. I would not go and, hang out in bars, or, like my husband doesn't like to go out a lot, and I do go out, but I don't go out to bars or to dance or to discos. I don't go out at night. I go out and I go hiking. There's not much he can say about that, right? So I would myself personally, I would never put myself in that situation out of respect for my husband. But obviously these women have a different lifestyle. And I don't know, is it okay? Is it okay to go and dance with married women, Lucille? I'm throwing the ball at you because I don't know.
I have a question for Troubled in Las Vegas. I think if your friends had not said something about it, would it be a problem for you?
Good question.
Or is it only a problem because your friends think it's a problem?
That's a really good question.
Because
he says, I'm comfortable with this, but others are telling me don't do this.
See, because it sounds like you're clear that you don't want a sexual relationship with these women. You're strictly there to, have drinks and dance and, joke around. And it's not going to go any further for you. And it sounds like the women aren't pushing for anything more. So, how is it different from just a group of gals going out, whether they're married or single, they're just going out and having a good time, you know? And there happens to be a guy along, but he's just a platonic friend. Like, I'm not really sure that there's a big problem here. Unless you might be sensing that it's going down a path that you're not comfortable with.
And where's the limit? Because sometimes those friendships kind of evolve, and then something happens. There's alcohol, and you're out dancing, and then something happens, and then you've crossed the line, and then what? And also, if he gets emotionally involved with these married women, and then it's not going to lead anywhere. So, I mean, if he's looking for a relationship and he's trying to find his other half, then he's definitely not going to find it with these women or in these situations.
Right. Yeah. So it's tricky. I would just say, you really navigate by your own intuition. And if it starts becoming uncomfortable, not because somebody else says it's not right, but you in the situation are starting to feel it's going down a road I'm not comfortable with, then that would be the point at which you start thinking about, well, do I have to draw boundaries now?
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds from the question like you've been doing this for quite some time. I don't know. And if you've been doing it for quite some time and nothing seems to have developed from it, it's just the same, just innocent, having a good time. I'm not sure there's a problem. But if you are starting to feel I'm not comfortable, then that would be something that really needs to be looked at.
Yes, yeah. I agree. So Casanova, Troubled in Vegas, I hope I hope this helps, and I hope we were able to answer your question. Keep them coming. We love hearing from you and from all of you guys. This brings us to the end of episode 9. Now, episode 10, we're going to do something different, and you guys don't want to miss this. We're going to do kind of like a rapid fire with Am I the Problem? So we're going to go through a lot of questions. You just give like really quick answers and see how that goes. So you guys want to be here for that one. We're going to address some really, really crazy stuff. As always, thank you so much if you stuck with us and you listened to the whole episode. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, a like, and a review, and subscribe, and click the notifications if you're on YouTube. Those things are so important, guys. The algorithm loves that, and that will make sure that we'll get it to a lot more people. And thank you, Dr. Lucille. I think it was another wonderful episode. I love these. I'm really enjoying it. I hope you are as well.
I'm totally loving it. These are great. And I also wanted to add, for anybody who feels that we misunderstood a question, or you want to give us an update if you've taken our advice, we would love to hear from you again. So do follow up. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely, guys. So keep in touch and let us know. Let us know also if it worked for you or if it didn't work for you.
Yes.
Or, like Lucille said, if we misunderstood your question or didn't address it in the way that you liked, then do let us know. Thank you guys again for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Please be aware that Lynn and I are here to provide insights, advice, stories that are for educational and entertainment purposes only. None of our content should be considered to be personal, medical, or mental health therapy. If you are experiencing a mental health or physical health challenge, please consult the appropriate healthcare specialist. We are here to provide the best possible content in an atmosphere of positive conversation and personal growth.